and welcome to AutoToday, and thanks for tuning into another episode of the Icons of India series. And this time around we've got the Hyundai Aura, a company which has brought us to Bundi to take a closer look at one of Rajasthan's most iconic forts, the one you see behind me. That's the Taragarh Fort, and we're going to talk more about that. But before we do that, in case you haven't seen the rest of the episodes of the Icons of India series, you can click on the top right corner of your screen and watch them. And as always, do remember to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified every time new content goes up on AutoToday. Bundi is about 450 kilometers from New Delhi, and most of the journey, in fact more than half of that journey, is along the brand new Delhi-Vadodara-Mumbai Expressway. It's a great road, it's a world-class highway, and it really helps cut down travel time. Compared to the older route, the travel time has come down by almost 90 minutes, so that's a great thing. Now it takes about 6 to 7 hours depending on how often you stop to get to Bundi. Roads are great, the car has been great. It has cruise control, which is really being put to use on this expressway because it just makes life so much easier. I know it's not the most sought after features when it comes to preferences of the Indian car buying audience, but with world-class infrastructure coming up, these features will gain importance, and the Aura already has it. The exit for Lalsot is where one needs to get off the expressway, but the rest of the highways leading up to Bundi are quite good too, making this a smooth, trouble-free journey. Bundi presents itself as a small town with the quintessential Rajasthani vibe to it, chief contributors to which are the remnants of its storied past scattered all over. Bundi's crown jewel is the Taragarh Fort complex that houses several places of interest including the Garh Palace or Bundi Mahal and Chitrashala. Our exploration of Bundi led us to the entry gate located towards the top of the fort complex, which, based on the general lack of upkeep and overgrown foliage, suggests isn't the preferred port of entry for most visitors. Inside, there's Rani Mahal, presumably where the queen would reside, but it too seemed in dire need of attention. This portion of the fort did offer splendid views of Bundi and the surrounding area though. And while one can walk down all the way to the more popular sections of the fort, the pathway isn't maintained well enough, and the climb back up to where the car was parked would have been extremely tiring. To get to the main entrance located in the city, we had to drive around the hill this fort is built on, and that didn't turn out to be as straightforward a task as it seems. Potholes the size of craters was challenge number one, followed by Bundi's narrow streets which at times were barely wide enough for the Aura. This proved to be a real test of the Aura's ride quality, and the sedan left us properly impressed with how it dealt with these roads. Welcoming visitors into Garh Palace is the magnificent Hathi Pole, passing through which reveals immaculately maintained gardens, a stark contrast to what we had encountered earlier towards the top of the fort complex. Within these walls are Chhatar Mahal, Phool Mahal and Badal Mahal, each boasting a unique style of architecture, beautifully crafted structures and gorgeous hand-painted walls and ceiling. Chitrashala, declared as a protected monument by the Archaeological Survey of India, was the most mesmerizing portion of Taragarh Fort, at least for us. The painted walls and the ceiling within this space showcase exemplary artwork that wouldn't be out of place in any of the world's finest art galleries. Okay, so stark contrast to what we saw at the upper part of the fort complex. The portions we just saw, the Garh Palace, the Hathi Pole, Chitrashala, they were all in very good shape actually, and very mesmerizing, and you can spend hours just looking at all those beautifully painted walls. and this trip was totally worth it. Honestly speaking, I hadn't read up that much about Bundi. I'd just seen some images while I was researching for a place to go for the Icons of India story, and it turned out to be better than I expected. So that was a great trip, and now we're heading back onto the Delhi-Vadodara-Mumbai Expressway. And I spoke about how the roads are great here and how it's a world-class expressway, but I also wanted to point out that, you know, now that the roads are reaching that stage where they're comparable to what we see or what we've seen on TV, or some of you might have even experienced while traveling abroad, I think our driving habits also need to adapt to that. We need to change the way we've been treating highways. So it's my humble request to be the better guy and stick to your lane, drive properly, indicate properly, plan your exits well ahead of time so that you don't have to cut across lanes at the last moment. Follow the speed limit even if you don't want to drive at 120 kmph, which is allowed on this expressway. Stick to the middle lanes and do what you want to do, 180, whatever it is. Just don't hog the overtaking lane. These are just small things that go a long way in helping, you know, our driving habits match up to the world-class infrastructure that's coming up in India. And the Hyundai Aura on the whole has been a great companion, comfortable, efficient, and feature-loaded for this segment and for this price. I've got wireless charging, I've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay depending on what phone you have, cruise control like I mentioned earlier, there's a tire pressure monitoring system also. So these are just little features that really help enhance your experience, and if you don't want to take our word for how good the Aura is, here's a customer, here's a proud owner of the Aura telling more about why he bought the car and why he's so happy with it.
गाड़ी काफ़ी स्टाइलिश है और स्पेशियस है, कंफर्ट बहुत अच्छा है गाड़ी का और फैमिली के लिए बहुत अच्छी गाड़ी है। गाड़ी लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस में और सिटी में भी बहुत अच्छी है चलने में, दोनों में बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस देती है सब। फ्यूल एफिशिएंसी बहुत अच्छी है, माइलेज बहुत अच्छी है इसकी, अभी करंटली 30-32 माइलेज दे रही है मुझे ना। गाड़ी स्पेशियस है, फैमिली के लिए वैसे भी अच्छी है, हाँ फीचर्स भी अच्छे हैं, बाकी पीछे डिग्गी विग्गी सब अच्छी है इसकी, खूब स्पेस है।
More cars, more adventures, and more iconic sights await us. So stay tuned for the next part of the Icons of India series, and if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and remember to share and subscribe.